Tonight we are looking into how long an officer who was recently killed in the line of duty had to wait for help from paramedics. We're talking to witnesses who heard that shooting and saw Officer Robert Libke lying on the street. Ken Body is live now in Oregon City, where that happened. Ken?
This is what's left of the house in Oregon City that the suspect burned to the ground, and this is Eastfield Street where Officer Robert Libke was shot. We talked to a neighbor today who saw it happen, and he also says it took an ambulance more than an hour to get in to get Officer Libke out.
I could see him, he laid there for 20 to 30 minutes, at which point we were evacuated, and maybe a good 30 minutes to an hour before I saw the ambulance.
Josh Wenzel will never forget what he saw on Sunday.
I saw the officer get shot, and obviously it was disturbing.
Wenzel lives across the street from where suspect Lawrence Cambra's home caught fire on Sunday. He ran over to see if his neighbor needed help getting out.
I saw flames on the ceiling, stuff's dropping down from the ceiling onto the floor.
He says he saw a confused Lawrence Cambra coming out of his garage, hair singed, admitting he started the fire.
At that moment I see in his right hand a black revolver.
Wenzel ran home, concerned about his wife and his 18-month-old son. They locked themselves in and called 911. Officer Libke arrives within minutes.
I think he has a pistol out pointed at the ground and says, "Drop your gun," but I think before he even finished that, I heard a shot. He was shot in the head and fell on his back.
Wenzel says Libke was down for more than an hour as more police and an ambulance arrived.
They were, zigging and zagging down there, covering one another, trying to get somebody in to get the officer, you could tell. They couldn't seem to get in there until the SWAT team got here.
It sounded like they were locking down the situation and trying to protect other officers from walking into a dangerous situation.
Get the ambulance!
Neighbors say the ambulance moved in quickly after SWAT team shot Cambra before he turned the gun on himself. The Clackamas County Sheriff's Office is investigating this, and they say that the timeline will be part of the investigation, including how long Officer Libke was here. Live in Oregon City, Ken Body, KOIN 6 News.
Officer Libke will be awarded the Medal of Ultimate Sacrifice. It's something that those who know him told us today he more than deserves.
He didn't do it for the money, he didn't do it for the glory, he did it because it made him feel like he had a purpose. Rob was one of those guys that when he came in the room, he always brightened it up.
Bruce Iredale worked with Libke for 16 years. He says he was an avid hunter who also loved fishing, loved his wife, and was over the moon about becoming a father. His co-workers and Oregon City officials are now working to find ways to support his pregnant wife financially.
And today we also learned the suspect in this case, 88-year-old Lawrence Cambra, actually killed himself. An autopsy showed that his cause of death was a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the chest. Investigators had previously thought that the SWAT members had killed Cambra. And we talked to more of Cambra's neighbors today as well. They told us that he had a history of threatening people with guns. They talked about one incident where he refused to move his car for some people who were painting the house next door.
He wouldn't move his car. And he said, "Well, if you don't, you get any paint on my car, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get in there and get my gun and I'll shoot you."
Now, Cambra used to live in his trailer. The man who lives there now says that Cambra was evicted back in 2005 for menacing other park residents and threatening them repeatedly. We will continue to follow this investigation into the shooting as it unfolds, and we'll let you know when a memorial is planned for Officer Libke.